The story of the United States' origins is a complex tapestry woven from centuries of migration, conquest, cultural exchange, and ideological evolution. While many Americans are familiar with the standard narrative of 1776 and the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the deeper roots of the nation reach far back into both European and Native American histories. Long before European settlers arrived, the continent was home to diverse indigenous peoples with advanced societies, intricate trade networks, and sophisticated political structures. Tribes such as the Iroquois, Cherokee, Navajo, and Sioux maintained vibrant communities, each with distinct languages, spiritual beliefs, and governance systems, shaping the foundation of what would later become the United States. European exploration intensified in the late 15th and early 16th centuries, driven by the pursuit of trade routes, wealth, and religious expansion. Figures like Christopher Columbus, John Cabot, and later Spanish, French, and English explorers mapped the coasts, encountering both opportunity and resistance from native populations. The English established their first permanent settlement in Jamestown in 1607, seeking not only economic gain, but also the creation of a society reflective of their own cultural and religious norms. The Puritans and other dissenting religious groups sought refuge in the New World, bringing with them ideals of self-governance, community cohesion, and moral codes that would influence the social and political ethos of future American colonies. Economic imperatives, particularly the cultivation of cash crops like tobacco and later cotton, necessitated labor, leading to the tragic introduction and institutionalization of African slavery. This system became deeply intertwined with the colonial economy, creating social hierarchies and regional disparities that would have profound consequences for the emerging nation. Conflict was an inherent aspect of these early interactions. Wars with indigenous nations, disputes among European powers, and internal debates over governance models reflected the turbulence of a frontier society. The philosophical underpinnings of the United States, however, drew heavily from Enlightenment thought, with ideas from thinkers like John Locke, Montesquieu, and Rousseau influencing concepts of liberty, natural rights, and the social contract. These notions were often idealized in colonial rhetoric and became central to the revolutionary movement that culminated in the Declaration of Independence. The American Revolution itself was not merely a rebellion against British taxation. It was a profound experiment in self-determination, civic engagement, and the articulation of a new political identity. Battles, alliances, and ideological debates shaped the colony's trajectory, ultimately resulting in the creation of a constitution that balanced federal and state powers while attempting to safeguard individual liberties, though initially limited in scope to certain demographics. The Constitution, ratified in 1789, was itself a product of negotiation and compromise, reflecting both the ideals of the Revolution and the practical necessities of uniting diverse states with varying economic interests and social structures. Early political factions, from Federalists to Anti-Federalists, debated the nature of executive power, representation, and the protection of civil liberties, laying the groundwork for the dynamic and often contentious political culture that characterizes the United States today. Expansion westward, beginning in earnest in the 19th and 20th centuries, involved the displacement of indigenous populations, the negotiation and violation of treaties, and the extension of governance across vast territories acquired through purchases, wars, and annexations. These movements were often justified under doctrines such as manifest destiny, reflecting a belief in the nation's providential role and cultural superiority, yet they brought significant ethical and human costs. Slavery, sectional tensions, and differing economic interests led to the Civil War, the bloodiest conflict on American soil, testing the ideals and resilience of the young republic. The abolition of slavery, codified in the 13th Amendment, marked a critical moment in the nation's moral and legal evolution, though the struggle for civil rights and equality would continue for generations. Industrialization and immigration in the late 19th and early 20th centuries transformed the social and economic landscape, introducing new opportunities, challenges, and cultural diversity. Cities grew, labor movements arose, and political reforms attempted to address inequities, reflecting the ongoing negotiation between individual ambition and collective welfare. Global conflicts, including World Wars I and II, positioned the United States as a major international power, influencing not only foreign policy, but also domestic identity, technological advancement, and societal expectations. The Cold War era further entrenched ideological divisions, prompting debates over civil liberties, economic models, and the nation's role on the world stage. Contemporary America continues to grapple with the legacies of its origins. Debates over federalism, civil rights, immigration, and social justice are deeply connected to historical precedents, demonstrating the persistent influence of foundational decisions and cultural attitudes. In essence, the true origins of the United States cannot be reduced to a single date or event. They are the result of centuries of interactions among indigenous peoples, European settlers, enslaved Africans, and later waves of immigrants, each contributing to the nation's evolving identity. Understanding this layered history provides not only a richer comprehension of America's past, but also insight into the challenges and opportunities that continue to shape its present and future. And that's something worth remembering when you next reflect on what it truly means to be part of this complex, ever-evolving nation.